Hey! Video producer Leo Veyder here with GameInformer. One aspect of Outriders we haven't shown too much of is the boss fights, and for no good reason, because they're cool. The boss encounters don't totally redefine the way we think about shooting a guy with a lot of health, but I think they did make a few really smart design decisions that other games in similar genres could learn from. The big one for me is having named moves that are super clearly telegraphed. You can read the ability they're using and watch the bar fill as they start to unleash it. This was initially just cool because it made the game feel like Dragon Ball Z with superpowered fighters basically yelling out the names of their moves while they're charging up. But the more we played, and honestly the more I looked through the footage with time to dissect what's going on, it's clear this can have a serious impact on the fight if you use the information it gives you to your advantage. For example, when a boss is charging a big attack ability like Discharge Mine, someone playing the Trickster class can throw out a slow trap to slow down the bar as it fills, while the full team lays into the boss with enough damage and shotgun blasts to knock him out of the attack before he can get it off. Or a Trickster could just teleport behind the boss as the bar fills and the ability fires, knowing the precise timing to teleport and get that flank without necessarily playing and replaying the boss 100 times to memorize all the patterns. That's something that really appeals to me. The naming of attacks also just helps with callouts for your team. Telling everyone what to do when the boss goes into steel wall is far clearer and more useful than telling them, the boss is doing that thing again with all the steel. Another thing I want to talk about is the clever design and the sheer variety of abilities getting used against you. One that gave us a lot of trouble was the Wandering Flame in the Reiner boss fight. It's essentially an indestructible pillar of fire the boss calls that chases you around the arena. If the pillar catches up with you and sets you on fire, it's pretty much over, so you need to be constantly aware of its position and know when to disengage and find a new spot to shoot from. The problem is, if you're forced to move out at the wrong time or closer to the dudes killing you, that can be just as bad as just getting hit by the Wandering Flame. So that fight really encourages teams to have a long-range player calling out where the fire is headed, or at least a dedicated fire spotter. I can't overstate how much of a threat this thing is. It completely changed how we played the fight. The last thing I think makes the boss fights interesting is the way you regenerate health in this game. The three classes shown so far all get health back in different ways. The two classes we were playing in our demo were Trickster, who gets health from killing enemies at close range, and the Pyromancer, who gets health from marking enemies that go on to be killed by anyone. Basically, they both require enemies to be killed to get the most health back. So while in most games the best tactic is to take out all the smaller enemies first before focusing on the boss, when we did that, we kept ending up in a long fight with just the boss left with no way to get health back, so he'd eventually burn us down and outlast us. It became clear that it was smarter to keep some enemies alive to farm health from when we needed it, so we could last as long as we needed to get all of the boss's health down. Definitely felt unique from other games. So that about sums it up. As anyone who knows me knows, I'm really not a boss fight guy. So many of them just end up feeling tedious and overlong to me. But I think because of the design tricks I laid out here, they're a bit more my speed. They're definitely set up to keep you engaged and thinking rather than just rewarding reaction time and memorization. This was the last video of our Outriders issue. Thanks everyone for sticking with us. In case you missed anything, we had the full cover story from the magazine go up at GameInformer.com/Outriders. And for gameplay impressions on the podcast, new gameplay videos of 2 of the classes, and a video showing off a few of the coolest weapons. All of those are available both on youtube.com/GameInformer or at GameInformer.com/Outriders. Thanks everybody for watching.